So I got this diagram here of the what you need to do. Right here is that shaft. That is the knuckle. That'll be bad. And then what you do is you just take that little piece off here and send it up towards the firewall. And then when you have that loosened, and then you just shove on that and then get that shaft to come off the rack, as in so. Down here there is one bolt. Up here there's 2 bolts you got to take off. I did put a little bit of ATF on it. That's what I had. Didn't have any WD-40 around, so then that way I pre-soaked it for a little while and then just used the air chisel and pounded that off towards the firewall, and then used the air chisel again mostly. I did use the regular chisel and just good old Armstrong and got this piece off. A little bit of all the above and some patience, but that's the part number 45203-04021 off the good old Fleabay. I found that to be the best price. A lot of part stores in my area didn't carry that part, so there's a little bit of a challenge to get it. So at all costs I avoided the dealership, as their price was way overpriced. So these 2 bolts up here and this bolt down here was a 12 mil, I do believe. And this part here is good for the 2005 to 2015 Tacomas that are 4-wheel drives. It's the lower steering shaft. So let's carry on with the video and get this job done. So, got that in the mail. So this part was about $140 once it got to the door, with duties, getting it across the border into Canada. And so yeah, $140 with tax, duty, shipping is expedited, so that's fine. And then from the dealership they want it $440 plus tax, and they said on the phone, well, we'll let you have it for $400. $400 for something that fits in my hand, that's pretty expensive. But anyways, that's fine. You need it, so that's good. So from the top side, that's what it looks like. It's gonna work out great, as at the top end I got those 2 bolts I can easily accessible. It's just to be potluck how I got parked in the garage, and then at the bottom it's angled nicely from the bottom, as you'll see here shortly. So let's get those top bolts loosened up and go from there. Well, 3 extenders, you can get down to those couple bolts there. Do it that way. Why crawl around when you can do it with these? You might want to pre-soak your bolts if you can. I just put a little ATF on that one. It's a little creaky, but so far so good. So at the bottom of the shaft, there's 1 bolt. It's a 12 mil as well. You just want a short dish socket, your ratchet, and hope for the best. Not a lot of room for big old hands, but it's manageable. So I found this out. This will work a lot better. I will put an extension on the end of the ratchet. That worked out well, a little tight, but basically resting up against that shock. So that worked out well. So I ran with that, and it was a lot easier to do. Jam lots of lube on it, make your job a lot easier. So I'll get things to go back on. Just a little wiggle wiggle and she'll go. So one thing I found helpful, just lift up that flap there, then you get access to those bolts, and then if you got an air chisel to start the procedure, you want to shove the sleeve back up, and then so the air chisel is handy. I mean, if you had something you can tap on with a hammer, you can do it. It just takes a bit of time. I pre-soaked it, then went for lunch, then came back, then soaked it a couple times while I was doing this procedure. But yeah, so you just air chisel it back up towards the column, this little collar, and then that freed it up. And then from the other end, close to the rack, then this end close to the rack, once you got that collar off, you just keep working it, and you'll get her to come off. Takes a bit of time. And one thing that I found helpful was to put some tape to kind of help line up your steering wheel to keep it true, so then that way it's not going down the road looking like it's cockeyed, the steering wheel. Yes, my tape's on a little bit of an angle, but it's helped me. So don't mind my hands, I've been wrestling at this for a while. So that was the end with the collar. So you just push the collar away from this piece up towards the firewall, and then this piece here, just chisel it away, push it away from the rack and pinion. It took about an hour, but with patience it came off. So that was the problem with mine, was it's really loose. A lot of people complained on like that form that I got that sheet from. It said they were tight in spots. So I never had that problem, just mine went to that stage nice and loose. So there you go. Hopefully this video is handy. At least you have a bit of an understanding now on how to do it, or why it takes garages a little bit of time to get it done. But hey, if you're just trying to, you know, save a couple dollars, you know, take your time, be patient, and then that way you get the job done, and then it saves you a few bucks for something else. Also, I took the seat belt and just tied it to the steering wheel to keep it from wiggling around, to keep it straight while I operated on the truck. Well, thanks for watching today's video. Cheers.